Okay, Mandela Effect. Now, first things first. There's Amandala. That's how you pronounce his name. President of South Africa. Prisoner on Robben Island for 27 years. The thing is, some people remember that he died in prison. They remember it differently to other people, apparently. I haven't met any of these people. This is what's known today as the Mandela Effect. Not to be confused with a mandala. A mandala is... oh, alright, okay. That's how you spell Mr. Mandela's name. And that's how you spell a mandala. A mandala is a round thing, design, usually symmetrical, which you can meditate. It's designed for you to meditate on. To me, a labyrinth is similar to a mandala in that the idea is to get to the centre. You're supposed to be the centre of the mandala. And the idea from there is to work your way back out again. Well, anyway, I'm digressing. The Mandela Effect, as it's known on the internet, is similar to the 11/11 situation, where people would look at the time, maybe a clock catches their eye out of the corner of their eye, or they just happen to look at the time, get their phone out of their pocket for some reason and look at the time, and it's 11:11. That was happening to me before I knew what 11:11 was. And then I looked it up on the internet and found that other people all over the world were also experiencing the same thing. They were seeing clocks on 11:11. Once it happens, you often start to notice it more, or it turns into 222, like 22:22, 23:11, which is 11:11 at night, 3:33, 4:44, 5:55. And there are also 222. There are all sorts of variations on a theme and what they mean. And to me, it's that this is a symbolic universe, and that that's a message coming from outside, or a message for ourselves, from ourselves, to wake ourselves up. Maybe that's why it's on alarm clocks, digital alarm clocks, 1111. Anyway. The Mandela Effect. So the Mandela Effect is the idea that all sorts of things have changed. Like, I saw a film in 1995 called Interview with a Vampire. But if you look online, if you look on IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, it's called Interview with the Vampire. The original book that the film was based on is called Interview with the Vampire. But I remember it as Interview with a Vampire. And so does my ticket stub. I've got physical proof. And yet the film I saw at the cinema, if I got a DVD off the shelf somewhere, if I bought it online, it would say Interview with the Vampire. Now maybe this cinema got it wrong and put the wrong name on the ticket stub. I've got one called Chore Romance, because they spelt true wrong. But for me, that's an example of something along the lines of the Mandela Effect, where I remember the film as having been called something different to what the internet says it as. There are other examples. There's a line in Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. Look it up. See what you think. It's interesting. Some theories are that the universe is changing around us, that we're moving from one timeline to another, that we've actually now living in a different world than the one we were born in. Some people talk about it being a quantum effect, that quantum computers, or the use of quantum computers, are affecting this reality. I know that I had an experience when it was a few years ago, and it was an interesting experience, entheogenic. I became God from the beginning until the end of time. I was playing with timelines in my hands like a cat's cradle, I had all these timelines all ravelled up together like a cat's cradle. All these strings, all these separate timelines, and I was unravelling them all until I could see one perfect timeline where everyone gets a happy ending for as many people as possible. Maybe that's what's happening. All the different realities that ever were and ever will be are collapsing like the wave function when you become an observer in quantum theory. An observer can collapse the wave function. I don't understand it all completely, entirely. Look up double slit experiment. Unless you're looking at reality, it's not there. Interesting stuff, anyway. And you can spend hours and hours looking at other people's videos on the Mandela Effect. JFK's assassination. How many people were in that car that he was in? How many rows of seats? Answer the questions for yourself first, then check what the reality says. The VW logo. Have a look at it. See if you think it's changed from the one that you're familiar with. The Ford logo, the Coca-Cola logo. Lazy Boy. Apparently Lazy Boy isn't spelled L-A-Y-Z boy anymore, or Lazy Boy, as you'd expect to spell Lazy Boy. It's Lazy Boy. Strange, but true. Anyway, check it out. It's interesting. It's fun. Some would say that things are just being remembered wrong. But that's a funny one. That's a strange one. Interview with a Vampire. That's how I remember it being called. See what you think. And bye bye.